So now let's talk about undo history. You'll notice that when you save a project file, you have the option to save your undo history along with it. If that's turned off, it won't save, but if it's lit up orange, it will. The undo history appears up here at the top of the screen as a little dashed line. If you go to your preferences, and down here there's undo history, you can turn off the show undo selector. And you can turn off showing the timestamp as well. Each one of those little notches will have a timestamp for when that action was created. The max undo history is automatically set to 10,000 undos. And warn when deleting undo history entries, that's turned on by default. Enable saving is turned on by default, as well as optimize, which should help optimize the size. It can be quite heavy when you're loading undo history. So you can turn off loading by click skip loading from undo history. So if I've saved out a project file that has a huge undo history with it, I can turn off loading of that history and then load just the file. So the undo history appears as this dotted line at the top of the screen here. So you see I've got multiple subtools here. The eyeballs have their own undo history. If I were to select that, the eyeballs undo history are here. If I come back to the head, you see there's many more parts to the head's undo history here. So what I can do is I can click and drag, and I can actually scrub backwards through my undo history and go all the way back to the beginning of this polysphere. You remember this from our quick start lesson. That's the very beginning. That is the sphere which we started with. And so I can move through all of my undos just like this. So even though it can be resource heavy, it's quite convenient to have all that undo history there available for you. It's actually quite informative to see your sculpting process and also to be able to share it. So if you were to want to make a video of the undo history here, all you need to do is go to the movie palette. In the movie palette, you've got the option to do your document or your window. I do document. Window does the entire ZBrush interface, which we don't need. We just need the document. And I'll set it to medium. If I set it to large, it will be 100% of the document window, which you can see here. That would be the resolution there. If I set it to medium, it would be 50% of that. Now I can set forward history or backwards history. If I click F history, it'll start from the sphere and then record a video going all the way to the end, showing my entire sculpting process. So I'm going to do that now, and I'll probably edit out the middle point so you don't have to watch the whole thing play, and then we'll come back and I'll show you how to export that video. So I'm going to go ahead and click forward history. ZBrush will calculate a camera path, and then it will start to showcase the sculpting process. So the movie is now completed. What we'll do is we'll go to the movie menu, and if it's not docked on the side of your screen, just open it here. Click the little radial button to dock it to the side. We will first go down to the bottom and go to Overlay Image, turn opacity down to 0, then open up Title Image and turn Fade In and Fade Out time to 0. So the movie is actually sitting in memory. If we click Play Movie, you can see the frames here. ZBrush can save these out as a ZMovie file, which are basically just frames that ZBrush can read, or you can export them as a video file you can share with others or post online. So to save the file, click Save As, and it'll save it as a ZMV file. And if you want to export it as a proper video file that can be shared online, click Export, and then you can export it to the hard drive and then upload it to social media, YouTube, etc. So undo history is really powerful for being able to revisit the entire process of your sculpture or zero in on a specific point in your timeline of working and then pick up work from there. So if I wanted to come to this point here, I could then continue to work. ZBrush will warn me it's not the most recent undo history. If I click OK, it will delete everything prior and I can continue to work from there. So undo history is extremely powerful, and hopefully now you've got a good understanding of how you can use it to both create video files to share with other artists of your workflow, as well as how to use it to store and revisit every aspect of your process when sculpting a character in ZBrush.